Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a woman who is selling some furniture and a man who is making inquiries about it. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Carolyn speaking.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Faraday, and I'm ringing to see if you still have the bedroom furniture that you advertised for sale.
Yes, there are 3 items left. 2 bedside tables and a dressing table.
Oh, good. They're just the items I'm after. Tell me, what's the construction of the bedside tables? I mean, what are they made of?
Well, they're a matching pair and they're made of wood. But the wood has been painted. It's not brown anymore. It's been painted cream.
I see.
Each table has a shelf and 2 drawers. Oh, and the drawers have square brass handles. Quite modern and quite nice, really.
And what about the dimensions?
Well, each table is 50 centimetres wide.
That's good. Much bigger than that, and they wouldn't fit beside my bed. I live in an apartment where the bedrooms are quite small. What I really need to know is how tall they are. You see, my bed's quite high.
65 centimetres high and 45 centimetres deep.
Thanks. Just a couple more questions about the bedside tables. What condition are they in, and how much are they?
They're in perfect condition. There isn't a mark on them. I had them painted professionally, you know, so the finish is much better than you'd normally expect. As for how much, I think £15 each would be fair, but I'll only sell them as a pair, so that's £30 all up.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, can you tell me about the dressing table?
Yes, it matches the other tables in colour and style.
Good. How many drawers does it have?
5 altogether. The bottom 2 drawers hold more as they're deep.
And the dimensions? How wide is it? That's all I need to know. It wouldn't be more than 1.5 meters, would it?
Well, just under actually. It's 1.25 metres across.
Does it have a mirror?
3.
Sorry?
It has 3 mirrors, you know, a central one and a narrower one on each side. And they're all adjustable.
I see. And the overall condition of the dressing table?
Well, it has a couple of scratches on the surface, but it's still in good condition, so I'm asking £50.
Could I call round and have a look later today?
What time were you thinking of?
In about half an hour.
Oh, yes, that's fine. By the way, my name is Carolyn Klein. It's on the gate at the front of the house.
Klein. Is that Kline?
That's right. And I live at 19 Domain Road.
Did you say the main road?
No, Domain. Domain Road.
That's just off Ashgrove, isn't it?
Yes. See you soon then.
Yes, in about 30 minutes.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear an employee of the Sports Super Centre giving a guided tour of the facilities in the centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
It's so nice to see so many people here on our open day. I hope you'll be impressed by what you see and that you'll all decide to join up. We have tried to cover all aspects of sport and fitness here at the centre. Well, let's start, shall we? As we're standing here at reception looking down the long corridor, you'll notice the car park on your left, where most of you have parked, asks you to reverse into the parking spaces for safety reasons. Also, this morning, a couple of keen potential members rode their bikes right in through the door instead of leaving their bikes outside there on your right, where the secure bike stands are. You may be wondering why there are so many mothers arriving with little children. As we proceed, you'll see that this first room on your right is a creche, where you can leave your little ones for up to 2 hours and they'll be expertly supervised while you work out. After the creche, on the same side of the corridor, is the male locker room with showers, spa and sauna. Opposite that, on your left, there's a staircase leading to the mezzanine floor. You'll not only get a great view out over the playing fields, but you'll also find a coffee shop and snack bar selling a range of wholesome food and drinks, protein shakes, fruit smoothies, that kind of thing. We won't go up the stairs at this point. I'll give you some time later when you can explore at your leisure. Most of you in the group are women, so next let me point out the women's locker room, which has the same facilities as the men's, you know, things like showers, spa and sauna. It's separated from the men's locker room by an office which the staff mainly use for administrative purposes. As we move on the same side of the corridor as the stairs, you'll see the entrance to the main hall, where they hold yoga classes, aerobics and so on. On the wall here, there is a timetable of all group classes and it is updated regularly. Now, opposite the hall is the gymnasium itself. Go ahead, have a look. Impressive, isn't it? Very spacious, light and airy with all the most modern equipment. As we continue down the corridor past the main hall, on the same side, there is a conference room. This is mainly used when the centre is hosting a big sports event of some kind. It gives the officials a quiet place to gather and have meetings and so on. You'll have seen the 400-metre athletics track on your way in beside the car park. We have some pretty big athletics conventions here. Well, after a strenuous workout, I bet there's nothing you'd like more than a swim in the aquatic complex. But first, these rooms on our right are all part of the sports medicine clinic, where you have access to a doctor, physiotherapist, massage therapist, podiatrist and even a sports psychologist if you need one. Of course, you'll need to make appointments, but if you have any questions, just pop in and see the clinic receptionist and she'll help you out. OK, let's go through the turnstile ahead of us. And here we are, in the Aquatic Centre. Turn left, past the pool shop where you can buy or hire goggles, swim caps and such like, and we're outside, poolside. Beautiful, isn't it? Especially on a day like today. Go on, dip your toes in the water, and if that's not warm enough for you, then I'll take you to the indoor pool, which is less than half the size, but heated to 32 degrees. Let's go back past the pool shop and through the double doors to the indoor pool. Well, that's all I have time to show you. Let's go back to the reception area, and if you like, we can run through some details about opening hours, membership and so on.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
Now, in this brochure, you'll see the opening hours. The centre is open 7 days from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, except for public holidays which follow Sunday's timetable. On Saturdays, we open at the same time as weekdays and close a little earlier. So that's 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturdays, and on Sundays everyone gets a sleep in. You can come in between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Membership fees cover access to the gym, group classes and the pool. But if you want to join a swim squad to train with a coach, you should inquire at reception for prices and timetables. In the gym, personal training is available from one of our dedicated team of trainers, and reception will have more information on who is free when and what hourly rates apply. However, there is always a certificated instructor on hand in the gym at all times for advice and help. And once your membership is paid, you are entitled to a free health assessment, and you'll get a program designed to meet your own particular needs. You'll need to book a time for this with the gym instructor. Now, if you're a mum or dad, remember you can leave your children in the creche. They take babies from 6 weeks old. Bookings are essential though, and you'll have to check the website for times and pricing. Members are also entitled to tennis lessons on a Tuesday or Thursday from 9 till 10:30, but bookings are essential, so ring Natalie. Her number is here in the brochure to reserve a place. Well, I think that's it. Any questions?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear a conversation between two second-year students, Steve and Jan, who are planning an assignment together. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi Jan. Sorry, my tutorial finished late.
No problem, Steve. Let's get straight to work. I've got so many other assignments this week, and we've only got till next Wednesday.
Sure, fine by me. So, we've got to do a combined presentation with at least 20 slides and a recommendation at the end. Is that right?
Yes, and then 5 minutes for questions.
Oh, right. I'd forgotten that.
So, what shall we choose as a topic? I was wondering about copyright or intellectual property law. It's a tricky area, though.
Well, I've been doing a bit of reading about digital privacy, and it's actually a really challenging issue now. I mean, the way employers and government departments rely on commercial databases for information on people.
Okay, that sounds like it has potential. Tell me more. I can't say I've read much about it.
Well, these databases compile information on all sorts of things, not just birth dates and income. They record people's lawsuits and convictions, employment history, credit rating, medical history, a range of statistics and stuff that is often out of date or is only partially true.
And they get this information from public records on the internet? You mean it's actually available online?
Yes, and that's the problem. We live in such a networked society now. There's so much data on the net and it's really accessible. Often the company employees who compile these databases include dated information or get confused by similar names and list the wrong details for people.
I'm starting to get the idea. What kind of things can go wrong?
Well, for example, a sales manager was fired because of a background check by a data company which reported that he'd served a jail term. He protested, but his boss still fired him. All he'd had was something minor like a speeding ticket. He suffered an unjust dismissal, plus the stress of trying to find another job. He was out of work for 7 months.
I see. Okay, this has really got me thinking now. It's a great topic.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
I'm thinking now about how the search engines apparently compile information on people based on their online search habits. You know, there's been a bit in the news lately. I guess that's pertinent.
That's right. It's all part of the same issue. The search engines actually gather a huge amount of data about computer users, and some of it is definitely sold to other paying customers. The database companies sell lists to direct marketing companies, for example. That's their core business, so they're always trying to access more information in order to attract new clients and improve their profitability.
What about social networking sites? How much of that information is truly private?
Not a lot, it seems, and hackers can download sensitive information and misuse it as well. Also, every time you fill out an online form or survey to enter a prize draw, you're compromising your privacy.
I never thought about that. I often enter those and give my email address and mobile number.
Well, apparently in Europe they have laws controlling the ability of companies to sell or share people's personal data without getting explicit consent, but that's not the case here.
Then that could be our main recommendation.
Yes, and then we can advise people to actually purchase their own credit reports and files from a few of the big database companies to check that the information stored on them is actually accurate.
It's so frustrating to have to do something like that.
For sure. Also, bloggers should be very cautious. They can be sued for breaches of privacy and for libel. Even Twitter comments aren't exempt from legal action. So that's another area to consider for suggestions. Anyway, we need to decide how to split this up. How about if one of us does an overview of the general issue and the history of it all to date?
I think I might tackle that. You'd be better on the technical stuff.
Great. Then I'll look at new developments and make policy recommendations. For example, There are technology researchers looking at how access to files and information can be restricted. Because, you know, originally the internet was designed to be as open as possible.
That's right. And instead, it's created a real conflict.
Already some of the browser companies are working on solutions to this, such as offering a tracking protection feature that users can switch on to restrict how much data can be mined from their computer use. And there are a few other ideas out there as well.
And about the question slot, I seem to remember Professor Duncan suggesting we prepare a couple of questions ourselves, in case no one asks anything.
I guess that's a good idea.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a lecture on the Antarctic toothfish industry. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon. As you know, it's Environment Week, and that seems like a good time to focus on one of the most special places in the world, the Ross Sea, and its associated fishing industry, which is largely focused on the Antarctic toothfish. Now, back in 2008, this part of the Antarctic, that is the Ross Sea, which, by the way, makes up only about 3% of the Southern Ocean, was rated as being the least changed environment on the planet. In fact, it's been described by one source as a living laboratory, a link with evolution, and it teems with fascinating and unusual sea and mammal life. So there have been urgent pleas for the Ross Sea to be given some kind of permanent protection. What are the issues facing the area then? Well, aside from the huge problem of global warming that threatens all of the Antarctic oceans and the ice cap, most of these are associated with the fishing vessels that come into the Ross Sea, as well as the usual things like general rubbish and sewage pollution from these boats. The most significant potential danger is an oil and diesel spill from a fishing boat that's either damaged or sunk due to the thick ice. In January 2012, a Korean fishing vessel caught fire in the Ross Sea, with a loss of at least 3 lives, although luckily an oil spill was averted. In late 2011, another Korean ship, the Insung No. 1, sank with 22 lives lost, although the rest of the crew were saved by other fishing boats in the area. Again, in December 2011, another vessel, the Sparta, caused an international furor when it was holed and stranded in pack ice in the Southern Ocean. That one was Russian. New Zealand planes had to fly missions to drop off water pumps and other essential equipment and supplies to the ship. Remember that the crews of such flights are put at extreme risk on such long flights, as the weather can become stormy at very short notice. All in all, it was a miracle that this ship was able to be repaired and moved from the area without a significant leakage of fuel. So, apart from the potential for environmental problems from the boats and the danger to fishermen working in this hostile environment, there's also the matter of the cost and danger of providing support in a crisis. And you know, there's a lot of pressure on the fishing crews to make the most of the brief weather window during which boats can operate so far south. So they tend to keep fishing no matter what the weather is like, which means that errors of judgments are more likely. The officially authorized fishing fleet has a quota, or limit, and each boat is hoping to get the biggest share possible of the total allowable catch. Then, of course, there are the illegal boats. That means the boats operating without permits. They just try to catch as much as possible regardless. And the vessels may not even be in a suitable condition to be operating in these icy southern waters. Consequently, a key issue is the decimation of the species. Now, how much do we know about this particular fish? The Antarctic toothfish inhabit very cold Antarctic seas, usually between 200 meters to 2 kilometers deep. They are large creatures, rather ugly, and they are slow growing. Although they live up to approximately 50 years, it seems they only reach sexual maturity after about 16 years. Also, very little is yet known about their life cycle. Things like where they spawn, or what happens to the young ones before they're ready to breed. We do know that the adult fish are near the top of the food chain, but we need to know much more about the juvenile forms. Things like what they look like, where they spend those early years, and what sort of predators go after them. Okay. So the fishing season in the Ross Sea spans December to February. It's estimated that close to 3,500 tons of Antarctic toothfish have been taken annually since the fishery opened in 1996. This represents approximately 100,000 fish per year. I must add, though, that in the last couple of years, overall catches have been reduced due to overfishing and the decline in total fish numbers. Now, there's no record, of course, of the numbers of fish caught by illegal fishing boats. Those in the Antarctic toothfish industry claim that the short fishing season and the difficulties faced by the boats in this inhospitable climate provide their own natural limits on fishing. They say that the industry is concerned to preserve fish stocks, and they assert that with careful management and monitoring, the fishery is sustainable. However, others dispute that this is the case, especially given the distances involved and the difficulties faced in trying to manage and monitor fishing boats in such a remote location. In the Ross Sea area, conservative estimates suggest that fish stocks have declined by about 20% over the past 16 years. But in fact, there is not enough accurate research to support such claims. The figure could be even higher. Leading scientists who specialize in this issue are calling for a Marine Protection Area, or MPA, with a total ban on fishing. But so far, this has not been achieved. Right, so that's an introduction. Now let's watch a short video before we discuss your next assignment.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.